We're going to go ahead and get started in just a couple of minutes. There's still people filtering in, and I want to just delay just a couple of minutes to make sure that we get everybody in and we can service you guys as good as we can. So be patient with us. As long as I see people coming in the door, we'll hold off for just a couple minutes, but I would expect no more than just 3 to 5 minutes at best. Thank you. Good evening. We'll go ahead and get started if you guys are all ready. All right. So my name is Jeff Larusso. I'm one of the public information officers for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 5. Our purpose of being here tonight is to be able to give you guys as much current and accurate information as we can, and then at the end of all of our presenters, give you guys that opportunity to ask us questions. So I want to just reiterate one thing that is very important to all of us. We are here for you guys. Okay, so take it that way. As we go through this tonight, take it that way. You know, our objective is to be here to serve the community, and we take that as a team very serious. So with that being said, I want to give you guys the latest on where we're at with the fire. The current acreage is 15,603 acres. We have 0% containment, and we're still actively working on getting more and more and working hard to get you guys back to home that are out of your homes. But you just got to give us time to do it because, as you've seen, this fire has done some pretty crazy things. So with that being said, I'd like to bring up Justin Mccomb, who's going to give you an operational briefing on what's going on with the fire. I forgot to get him a mic, my fault, so he will talk loud for you.
Can everybody hear me in the back? All right, so my name is Mccomb. I'm the Operations Section Chief for CAL FIRE Team 5. I'm
That's right.
also a local battalion
I got one coming.
for this unit.
I got one coming, Justin.
Okay.
Hey, what would a community meeting be if I didn't mess something up, right?
All right, how's that? Like I was saying, I'm Operations Section Chief for CAL FIRE Team 5. I'm also a local battalion chief, so I've been here since day one. I want to give you a quick recap of day one, because it was pretty incredible, some of the fire behavior that we had, and then I'll get into kind of what we're dealing with as of today. So most of you know that the fire started in Mid-Pines off of 140 and Carson's Road. Within 3 to 4 hours, the fire had progressed all the way into Carter Road and was bumping Triangle Road. The fire quickly outflanked us. We couldn't even attack it with the resources that we had on hand, and the amount of structures that are off of Triangle and Carter, we just surged all of those resources down into Triangle and into Carter Road. That's when the evacuation started for mainly the early part of the fire. As the fire headed south, I thought it was going to jump Triangle, and it decided it was going to take a turn towards Buckingham Mountain, and it turned east on us. Unanticipated, kind of a surprise, and a lot of the old timers say, oh, Buckingham Mountain always held, and it chewed through Buckingham Mountain without a problem. After it went over Buckingham Mountain, it turned south on us again and jumped Triangle, and there was a spot fire 2 miles out that landed in Clouds Rest Road in Lush Meadows. One spot fire on Clouds Rest, we got a second 2 mile spot fire, a third, and that's when it established itself in Snow Creek, and Lush Meadows was basically evacuated, and it was off to the races, and we surged all those resources in Lush Meadows as fast as we could, but in my career I haven't seen fire behavior like that, and it was rapid rate of spread, long range spotting, active crown fire runs. It ran the gamut. So I'll just update you on what's going on today. So if you look at the Highway 140 side, from the origin of the fire, this is where we had the earliest success on the right flank. So we went direct with hand crews and engines, and we were able to get direct line all the way down and around and back to into Triangle Road. Today was the first day that I felt confident with this southern piece. So the southern piece, I didn't want the fire to progress any further south. So we were able to get hand line, dozers, we sent everything we could to try to get direct line around the south end of the fire to progress, to stop the southern spread. So that was a win for me. Now, we still have a lot of structured defense going on in Lush Meadows. We're not out of the woods yet. We have established fires still down here in Snow Creek. We're trying to button that up now. What you see out there in the big smoke is everything that's heading northeast. So Footman Ridge was a ridge that we identified that we wanted to hold, and we have a lot of resources in there trying to hold that right now, and they're battling, I'll tell you that. Trying to hold it up Jersey Dell Road and then Mariposa Pines at 11 o'clock this morning. We got reports that it was making a hard run to Bear Clover, and we brought in 3 immediate need strike teams and sent them into Mariposa Pines. We were able to stop the fire at Bear Clover as of now, but we still have a lot of resources in Mariposa Pines. With that, and just on the furthest north piece, up here in Sweetwater Ridge, we've tried, and it's ran us out. The crews will pull back, try to re-engage, but this is very active up in here still on that north side. So that's the end of the report. Thank you.
Okay, before we get to our next speaker, I just want to remind all of our online viewers that we do have people monitoring any questions you guys might want to ask through the Facebook platform. Go ahead and ask those questions in the comments there, and we'll do our best to answer those for you. So next in our briefing tonight will be from the United States Forest Service, Dean Gold.
Right. Good evening. This turnout is phenomenal. Thank you. There's a lot of places you could have been this evening, but you chose to be here, and so we really do appreciate that. Thank you for your participation. As far as incidents like this go, you know, it's real easy to work together when things are going great. It's when things are going not so great. That's when you really learn about a relationship and it's tested. And I just want to say, hands down, the working relationship that the Sierra National Forest has established based on trust with Mariposa County Sheriffs, with Madera Mariposa Unit, and with all of you could not be better. We have been through a lot of hard times over these past, well, as long as I've been the forest supervisor now, about 8-9 years. We've had some real challenges on the Sierra, and were it not for these relationships that we have, it would have been a heck of a lot harder. And so, when something like this happens, the last thing you want to do is start having a whole lot of conversation about who should be doing what. That's not the case at all with these partners that we have. We know immediately what the other's needs. All we have to do is ask. All we have to do is tell each other that we need help, and we're there. We're there with everything we have as fast as we can do it. That's just the type of relationships we have. So, so on your behalf, just do know that we really do have a very good relationship going there. As far as this particular incident goes, you're likely familiar with the Washburn Incident that the Sierra currently still has going, along with some activity on Yosemite National Park as well, still to this day. One silver lining from all that is that during initial attack, a significant number of resources were able to be pulled off that immediately and assigned to this, and that did make a difference during that initial attack. That a portion of that line that they established is still holding today. So that's very good news. As far as the Sierra National Forest goes and that piece of it, well, as was just briefed to you, that's where the majority of the most active portions of the fire are now. You heard to the northeast and to the east. Well, that's the Sierra. And so that's where it's heading. And there are some mixed blessings there. Certainly I don't wish for it to be on the Sierra, but as long as that is a direction where the majority of the activity currently is, there are a couple things to be aware of. We do have some past fire scars there. Karsten's fire is one. Now that was a while ago, so we can't expect that to do a lot of good for us. A bit further out, and certainly much more substantial, much more recent, is the Ferguson fire scar. Now should it get out to that, that likely isn't going to stop this, but it's certainly going to slow it down and give us much more of a fighting chance to get the line in there, to get the treatments in that we need to really get that portion of the incident wrapped up. So that's actually a bit of good news there, just trying to take you know, what those past fires have given us now and trying to make some good out of them. Just do want to mention our tribal partners as well. North Fork Mono Indians, Picayune Rancheria of Chukchansi Indians, Southern Sierra Miwok, and North Fork Rancheria of Mono. They too are fantastic partners, not only with their participation and engagement, but their sharing of the knowledge that they have of what's out on the land. So they too play a critical role in all of this. And I just want to wrap up by saying, as I would suspect you're aware, but certainly this is a good opportunity for me just to reinforce, literally from hour one up to now, this has been and will continue to be a full suppression incident. We are doing everything we can to get this out as fast as we can for all of you. We know that you've been through a lot over these years. We want to get you back in your homes and feel comfortable being in your homes as quickly as we can. So thank you again for being here tonight.
Our next speaker will be I'm having a hard time tonight. Mariposa County Sheriff's Jeremy Breeze.
Well, hello Mariposa, and I say hello Mariposa because this is our home. And I want to first start off by thanking each and every one of you. I mean, this has been, as you heard, a unified front with our CAL FIRE partners, our local sheriff's office, our neighboring sheriffs, our neighboring police. And when this fire kicked off, it was all hands on deck, and we attacked this aggressively to make sure that you were safe, that you got out of harm's way. But our major focus is protecting your lives, but also protecting your properties. So with that said, it's my guarantee to you that from the beginning to the end of this incident, and we will come to an end, that we will have a large showing of law enforcement in the evacuated areas, because it's our duty. You've trusted us to leave your homes, and you've trusted us to protect your homes and your property. So first off, I want to say thank you for that. I do want to give a quick shout out to our staff that has been working long hours, not a lot of sleep, but it's because this is our home. This is our we're neighbors, we're friends, we're family, and we're not going to stop that fight. Even some of our staff that are displaced are still coming to work for you. Some of our staff that may have lost everything and only own a uniform, they're still working for you. So I think it's a very proud moment for Mariposa. And so with that said, also, the behind the scenes stuff that you may not, notice or see, that are also your community members, our fairgrounds manager, housing all our animals, and our volunteer units and posse units, and just everybody coming together. And, we felt it in Detweiler and Ferguson, and there's a slogan about Mariposa Strong, but we are Mariposa Strong. We're resilient, and we're going to get through this together. So again, I can't thank this community. I'm proud to be your sheriff, and And with that, I just want you to understand that when I say we're going to be there 24/7, with that security, it is, the mutual aid request for Region 5 is what it's called, is all of our neighboring sheriffs and local police departments have, without hesitation, sent what we needed up here. So you will see a lot of different marked vehicles. But again, they also have that same drive, and that's to protect and keep your stuff safe, keep you safe. And with that said, there are unfortunately individuals that may want to try to come up into our evacuated areas, and if they want to try to victimize us, Mariposa residents, Mariposa County members, we will be there to deal with that, guaranteed. That's not going to be welcome, and we will. And we'll hit that with full force. And so all of our county partners, though, as well, are working too. And I say that one portion of the evacuation and disaster management is we call the EOC, or Emergency Operations Center. And that's made up of all different county employees from Health and Human Services and every department you can think of, road department and our auditor's office. But we come together to make sure that everything's working efficiently, the support that's needed is coming. So, sometimes you may not see them in the front lines, but, they're working around the clock as well to protect you and everything that we have here. So, I'm just very, very thankful that we have such a robust team of county employees that may be working a little bit outside of their normal job duties, but like we said, when it's an all-hands-on-deck type of call, we drop what we're doing and we make sure that we're out there for you. So thank you to all of them as well. And then for our fire management, we have our local CAL FIRE guys. They're your neighbors, friends, and family. But also they've brought in this incident management team, and it's again just more layers of professionals that are studying this fire behavior to make sure that we're doing the right things and having the right evacuation zones. Our goal is always to get you back as soon as possible. And so there's not a moment that we're not studying, talking, and working together. And so I'm very thankful for them for coming in, and like Dean spoke, you know, they're the Sierra National Forest, but Sierra National Forest is also Mariposa County, and they live here too. So when we say it's a one-team fight, that's a real deal. It's not just a slogan. Everybody is all hands on deck. So thank you to them. When it comes to the evacuated area, we're roughly looking at about 3,800 residents, and that's just kind of an average. It's not the exact number, but it's right almost at 3,800. And it's some of our larger communities, you know, our Lush Meadows population and Jerseydale, and you know, all the subdivisions and properties that you live in here in the Triangle area. And so it is a very big area, and that's why we have requested mutual aid law enforcement to make sure that we are not skimping on security for this area, that it is manned, it's policed, it is patrolled, and it's not just patrolled on the roadways. We are going into your residents periodically and making sure, getting out of our cars, walking around, checking those homes to make sure that everything is secure and safe. So it's a 24-hour job. Everybody's doing an excellent job. I can't thank the layers of support that are pouring into us and for our community. And you know, the goal is again to get you back. So with that said too, I know sometimes it may feel like it is dragging on, but as the main fire comes through, we also have to make sure that there's no danger for you as you're coming back. So when the fire has been cooking maybe in a tree well, we have a lot of trees coming down and other dangerous debris that we don't want to get anybody into a situation. We want to continue to have all of our resources focused on that fire, get that fire out so we can get you back in. We don't want to have an emergency inside the emergency, so to speak. And so, but we don't, I know it feels sometimes like it's a delay, but we don't delay. If anything, we push and push and push to make sure that as soon as we can get you back, we're going to get you back. So please just, first off, thank you for trusting us. Without you, we couldn't do our job. And when I say that, that means we're one community, and the trust that I have seen from this community, from all of you, it has just been overwhelming. And you know, I truly thank you for that, because it's made our jobs a lot, I wouldn't say easier, but smooth, you know, and like I said, we want to make sure that we can all enjoy that smile together again and not have any injuries or anything devastating to us, Mariposa. So thank you for your trust. Thank you for allowing us to get in there and work. And if there's questions, please don't hesitate to call us. We have some numbers set up for evacuation needs. I will read that one number off. That's through our EOC. That is 1-833-423-0816. Also, everything that we've been building on our platform to make sure that anything we're doing, as soon as we can get that information out to you. And that's from real-time evacuation zones on the public information map that's on our mariposacounty.org site. We're continuing to update that and monitor that, so you're in the know and not having a lag time. If you're not signed up, and I'm not going to mess this up because this is very important, if you are not signed up for emergency alerts, our emergency alerts can be signed up at masoalert.com, and that's through this messaging system. Will also be lifetime alerts for disasters, for evacuations, for advisories. This is very important. If you don't have it, please sign up for it. We also have rolled out our sheriff app I've been talking the last few months about. We don't have the pamphlets ready because we were trying to get that done within this month, but it is up and running, and it's a free app through Google and Apple. And as you download the Mariposa Sheriff's app, one of the things it does is it also notifies you through push notifications of anything that's occurring. So if you haven't got that, I would highly suggest that. But our team is going to continue to not only work together, but our team is going to always be providing everything that we have information-wise to you as soon as possible. Even if it's late hours sometimes, if we have to, we will push that information out. So there is no lag time. I mean, I know everybody is stressed. Everybody, including my own staff. Like I said, we've been working around the clock, and we are in this situation. But with the better information, the factual information that we can get to you as soon as we can get it to you, I hope will relieve some of that. And I just can't thank everybody enough for what they do. So I'm probably rambling on. I'm probably running on 2 hours of sleep, so I apologize for that. But we are appreciative of everything. I'll be open for questions. My team are always open for questions. But again, thank you for everything that you do for us to make us do our jobs. And I guarantee you, we are going to be there to the end. I guarantee you, 24 hours a day, we will have heavy law enforcement presence. I guarantee you, if there's anybody that is going to try to victimize us again during this crisis, they will be met by our law enforcement and they'll be dealt with appropriately. So I just wanted to send that message out to you. We are here for you. We're always here for you. Like I said, Mariposa is my home. You guys are my family, and proud to be your sheriff. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm sure, and I'm just going to ask, we have a representative from the Sheriff's Department that does a lot of the public information. I just want to ensure that on your guys' website, the phone number that he gave as well as the alert sign up is on that site. So if that will be. So if you missed that number or that website, please reference the Sheriff's Department website and they'll have that up on there for you. Our next representative is going to be our local unit chief from the MMU unit here, and that will be Chief Mike Van Lobensells.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Van Lobensells. I'm proud to call myself your unit chief for the Cal Fire Madera Mariposa Merced unit, as well as your Mariposa County Fire Department. So I'm going to start off real quick by sort of going over where we were with resources on the start of this fire when the Oak Fire started. We are actually staffing very well within the unit, not just at our fire stations, but we still had the Agua Fire going on. So we still had resources committed there. When this fire broke, not only were we dispatching our normal response of a high dispatch, but as soon as the smoke was visible, we really pulled everything off the Agua Fire and sent it to the fire. So the growth of this fire is pretty amazing given the fact of how quickly we had resources there, how quickly the state supported the incident with all the aircraft across the board, from the very large air tankers that you guys see out there to the helicopters to the lead planes across the board. We really threw everything at this thing across from the beginning. As Chief Mccomb said when this thing started, when you're starting to see spots that mile and a half out in front, it's very concerning to me. But I will tell you one thing that I'm extremely proud about, actually two things. One is the evacuation process the aggressiveness of the incident commanders, unified incident commanders between CAL FIRE, United States Forest Service, and Mariposa County Sheriff at the initial incident command post, coordinating that evacuation process and the Sheriff's Office, as well as every available person working on notifying you guys to get out. And second, it's to you for taking the notifications, bearing the warnings that were provided to you, and getting out of the way. To date, I can say we've had a couple minor injuries, but the reasons that we're not seeing any severe injuries or fatalities is because you guys and the Sheriff's Office have coordinated, developed a relationship where the trust is there, that knowing that you guys will leave if we're coming to tell you, and then my promise to you, we're going to get you back as soon as we can. I had the opportunity to be on the fire today. I went and drove the fire today. As I was driving, I did not see one piece of equipment sitting not working. I did have a tree fall right next to me, so I can tell you right now, I know it's not safe, but I can tell you without a doubt, 24 hours a day, the guys are going to be out there working to ensure it's safe to get you back in there. So as soon as that's done, there's a every day there's a coordinated effort amongst every agency involved, including PG&E, County Roads, CHP, to ensure that we have a coordinated effort to get you back in. So as soon as that is ability to do, our goal is to get you back in as soon as possible and get you guys back to some semblance of normalcy. So to leave you on that note, and I know there'll be questions at the end, I will stay till the last question's answered until it is. Sheriff Breeze mentioned Mariposa Strong. I think that's a complete understatement. I mean, for what you guys do, the resiliency I see in this community year after year after year, staying involved in your community, thank you. We'll be here to answer questions.
I'd like to next bring up our two incident commanders from the fire side, Chief Todd Hopkins representing CAL FIRE and Victor LaFour from the U.S. Forest Service.
Good evening. My name's Todd Hopkins. I'm the incident commander for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 5. What an incident management team is we are a state team, one of 6 for CAL FIRE that are comprised of about 63 people from all different agencies throughout the state that have specialties in different areas so we can support operations. So we have a planning section, a finance section, and a logistics section. And what we do is we support our operations section so we can put the fire out. What happens is we get called or ordered from the unit that's being effective, and what that does is when we arrive, we get expectations from the 2 agency administrators that you just met on what their expectations are and what their directions are for us to manage this fire. And what that does is it allows them to not only manage the fire or have us manage the large fire that's going on, but then they can continue their day-to-day operations so that the community stays safe. What I can tell you is that our team, one of the expectations is this is a one team, one fight. Our team is truly engaged with the one team, one fight concept with all the different agencies here. We like to thank the community for the support that you're giving our team members and all the personnel and all the agencies that are out there. So on behalf of Incident Management Team 5, we want to thank you, and also our partners that we're unified with the U.S. Forest Service and with the Mariposa County Sheriff. So thank you for having us.
Okay, that concludes our actual presentations. What I want to do now is open up questions both online, so continue if you have questions online to type those in and we'll do our best to answer them. And then we're also going to have Rick running around with a microphone. He'll get to you guys if you just raise your hand, let you know that you have a question, and we'll do our best to answer everything that we can. I will have the most appropriate person answer the questions that you guys have, so you're getting the best answer. So Rick, all yours. And with as many people as we have in here and as big a place it is, we're going to be a little slow, but we will get to you.
So you mentioned this whole area of the fire. What about this area on this side? We live on Kimball Road, and just recently we're put on the advisory list, and I'm wondering how the fire moving this way is affecting us down over here. What should we be watching for?
So when I briefed to the fire, I talked about spot fires that were 2 miles ahead of into Lush Meadows. The fire activity was still at a rapid rate of spread. We were getting spot fires that we predicted would align with the wind and kind of turn southerly. And that push, we did predicted runs, and it was a 4-hour run to get to Highway 49. So we super cautious. We have to have lead time for the sheriffs to get the evacuations done. So that all plays a part of all of that. It does seem like it's a little far out, but the fire spreads at an unpredicted rate.
So also to help our operations out, one of those specialty positions that I told you about is we have what's called a fire behavior analyst, and we also have an incident meteorologist. It's the incident meteorologist is a person that works for the National Weather Service. And then our fire behavior specialists, what they do is they use different types of computer fire models that help predict the spread of fire and the potential rates of spreads, how fast will it get to possibly a community or area, how far will a spot fire, which is, it's an ember that's out ahead in the main fire that's going to start a new fire. So these specialty people will compile information in a computer system, then they will talk with our operations people, give suggestions, and then based on their experiences on from fighting fires and then what they're also seeing, then that's where they will come together with the sheriffs, figure out if we need to put you guys into an advisory or to evacuate. So that's kind of how the process works.
Hi, my name's Maya Mid-Pines, and I read that they were going to start doing property assessments I know that there were only 10 structures so far that are confirmed that were leveled, and so I want to know what that process is and when we can start seeing information online.
Okay, so one of the things that also we brought in with the team is a damage inspection team from the state. They arrived yesterday, got set up. They started going out in the field today. I'm hoping that by tomorrow that there will be postings. It's a two-person team that's going out and has to capture all the data and all the information that is, if houses have been damaged, destroyed. Once we get that information and they put it in their computer system, get everything compiled, then they will get it over to the EOC for the county, and then they will release the information.
And if I could just add on that real quick, you know, with anything that's traumatic in our lives, we want to make sure that also that we do this methodically. So when he's talking about the team, as they evaluate, our team of investigators are going to be with them, and we're not going to be just posting online. You know, our goal is, if you lost your home, our goal is to personally meet with you and not call you over the phone. If there's circumstances that it has to be over the phone, there'll be a verification process so we know that you are the homeowner that we're talking about and not a random person just inquiring about a friend's house. So we take it very serious because, like I said, this is devastating for all of us, and we want to make sure that you have all the factual information, but you know before the world knows.
Hi, Jennifer Robin, KVMR, Southern Sierra Miwok. What are some immediate resources for evacuees? I've seen people on Facebook freaking out about motel costs. I know somebody who doesn't want to leave because they just went to Costco and they don't want to abandon food. I'm sorry, it's true. Animals, SPCA is full, and even some of our local kennels are now on evacuation lists. So what are some immediate resources? And the last one is, how will mail start working tomorrow for these affected folk?
Okay, so I think I can answer most of that. Our Emergency Operations Center is the support center. That number that I read off is a team including with Red Cross, including with our Health and Human Service, so a lot of resources. Our director, Joe Lynch, I'm not sure if he's here, but you can contact him as well. I hope that's okay, Joe, if you're listening. But they have a lot of resources and a lot of people there for those type of needs. I know hotels and stuff are scarce, and we're working with, or they're working with the logistical teams to help manage that. Regarding mail, I don't honestly know. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't know. I should say the evacuated area, because there's still potential hazards, will not be obviously going in that area. Now, the post office may have a mechanism that they can start to try to contact, but because the event is still in the early stages and we're notifying and trying to get people going, there may be some delay, but we'll work through that as well with our EOC Center. What was the other part of your question?
That was it, you covered it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And for the mail, what we can do is we can take one of our liaison officers, send them to the post office tomorrow, and reach out to them since they're closed on the weekends.
Do you guys think this will make a run up the South Fork of the Merced River Canyon like the Ferguson fire did, or you going to be able to get some kind of a huge-ass dozer line on it there at Footman?
I think you're asking about the Merced River Canyon? The Merced River Canyon, if it was going to make a run. So we are trying to open it up Sweetwater still. It's tested that line, but we have other contingency lines from the Ferguson fire and the Bryceburg and all those other ones that we still have. It is a firefight up there. We're trying our best, but we have a plan to try to not let that happen. It is, yep, I agree.
Hi, are we going to be notified via the same system that notified us of the evacuations when it's safe to go back?
Which is it? Do they have the same system?
Will they notify us via the same system that notified us of the evacuations when it's safe to go home?
So, yes, it'll clearly outline the areas that are available to go back. It'll be pushed out again through not only just the system, but all our social media platforms, as well as we have other alert systems. You might have had like your phone earlier that screamed at you. So all these different mechanisms, we're making sure that any and all things we could do, you'll be notified. Yes.
I know a lot of you guys have questions, and I know that we have them on both sides of the room. We will get to you. Just please give us a little bit of time. There's nobody in here that we're not going to try to answer a question for. Our goal is to be here for you guys. So just let us go through things, and we'll do it as fast and rapidly as we can. But the most important thing to us is giving you accurate information to the questions you guys have. So just give us patience, and we'll get to you, I promise.
I live on Chamberlain Road, which is just west of 140 in Mid-Pines, and we've been on advisory for a while, but I noticed just today that some other large areas also west of 140 were added to the advisory. I'm wondering if there's a particular concern that the fire is going to jump Highway 140 in the future. And I guess sort of the flip side of that, do you have any expectation as to when 140 might be opened?
Well, I'm back. So just to clarify too, the evacuation area is the one area, and if an evacuation area does grow in an area, working with our partners in the weather and fire analysis, we always bump out an advisory as a contingency as well as precautionary. So an advisory is always through messaging and alerting, and really that's just to, not for a scare or anything, it's just to make sure that we're communicating with you and that you have that preparedness, that advanced readiness in an event we have to go in an evacuation order. So as the evacuation area does expand, so does our advisory area.
I have two questions. The first one is the most important to me. My husband has Parkinson's. He has deep brain stimulation implanted in his brain that monitors his body. We had 2 minutes to get out. We live on Karstens, where the big pond is, up on the top, and we had to go over the hill. He didn't bring his charger with him. the soonest he could possibly get one is Tuesday. But the charger, we have to go down, if we get it, we have to go down to to Fresno, to the neurologist, to have them program it for his special needs. Is there any way I can get up there to get that?
Okay, so I want to make sure this is clear, because as we progress and as the hazards are mitigated, we will start to, unless we are able to repopulate that specific area. But if that area is still under an evacuation order, once we're in place, we do start kind of a second phase where we verify residents and we do escorts, and it's also kind of almost at a tiered type level. So immediate medical life-saving need, if we're able to get there safely, then the answer to your question would be yes. We will work with you.
Thank you. Somebody else can go in and get it. I know where it is.
Right. Well, and when I say that, I just want to make sure that, you all understand too, we have so many resources, but, that is very important. And if for some reason we couldn't get there, I know our emergency operations team, the EOC, sorry, here I'm up here stuttering, but they would work with a hospital or something to make sure that that's there. If we had to. What I'm saying is if we can get there, the first answer is yes. What I want to just make sure everybody knows is we gotta really vet that, because we can't just have a bunch of people wanting to come in because they want to check the water hose or something. Yeah. So we got to really look at that stuff. Yeah. But yes, we will. I'll make sure one of my team members meets with you tonight, and we will take care of that for you.
Okay. My second question. This is the third fire on Karstens within a week. This fire looks like, well, I don't know for sure where it is, but it looks like it was where the second fire on Karstens was. We saw the red helicopter go over and hover. My husband was on the porch, he was on the phone, and he saw smoke. An hour later, we had the sheriff's department at our door telling us, get quick. Any idea where it started?
Yeah, great question. I appreciate it, and I heard the other voice of it over here. I ask you guys to be patient as far as cause and origin aspect goes on this. I can tell you across the board, we have brought in multiple investigators from both agencies, United States Forest Service as well as CAL FIRE, to ensure we have a thorough investigation to determine the cause of the fire. I don't have anything else there. I do talk with the investigators every day to see if there's any updates as far as information goes. I will tell you they are we're talking about on the ground putting the same effort. They're doing the same thing 24/7 with the investigation, and they will continue to do it till they have a cause to be able to present to me.
The first fire that was on Karstens, I went past that fire that was on a Thursday. I went past that an hour before the helicopters came in, and I heard the trucks go in. I saw 3 trucks there. I saw 3 men standing there. There was no fire. There was nothing. Just 3 trucks, 3 guys, and dry grass and green trees.
And I appreciate that information. I'd love to have a conversation with you after this meeting and be able to tie you in with one of my investigators to ask some questions for some follow-up. Thank you so much for that.
I'm going to add to that as well when he talks about everybody, all hands on deck and everybody working together. Same thing from the sheriff's office. We met with the investigators, and all our chips are in as well. So when he says every investigator and brains looking into this, we are, and we won't stop.
Justin, could you talked a lot about branch 1 and branch 10. Could you talk about branch 5 and Branch 3, specifically Division Romeo, November, and Lima.
There we go. All right, I'll start in Division November, or Division N. So this is Lush Meadows. So the fire, jump triangle, we stopped it at Dara when it was making an east push. It did spot a little bit, but we were able to catch it. The fire is hung up around the west side of Lush Meadows into that Snow Creek specifically. So there's still, we have hand crews going in and trying to secure the Snow Creek drainage today. Division Lima, that's all into like the Footman Ridge area, starting to push out into the Sierra National Forest. This is the control line that we used on the Ferguson, so we were trying to maintain that, but that yesterday pushed really hard across Jersey Dale Road and started pushing east. It's hung up on the top. We have dozers and everything we've thrown at it. Actually, right now, currently, as we're in this room, we're surging resources into this area to try to maintain Footman Ridge. Coming down into Division Romeo, we have Cole Road, Silva, and all of that. I can tell you that there's a lot of structures in there, and the engines are going house to house to house, trying to do as much structure defense as they can in there. But like I said earlier, we have had success with getting some sort of line around the southern edge of the entire fire.
My name is Peter Beck. I had two questions. The first is if you could clarify what you mean by containment, because I'm seeing a number of 0%, but then what I'm hearing the description is that the southern and western, particularly as a resident west, from my perspective, it looks contained. It sounds like it's contained, and so one of the things that alarmed me was taking zero containment too seriously, because what you're describing is a fire to me that sounds like 1/3 contained. My second question is what we can do to make your jobs easier, not for this fire, but in the future, since we're all in the room. I grew up believing an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, but every time I drive down through the fire zone, I get the impression that people don't think a fire is going to come through, and that people are not doing an adequate job of keeping their land clear. I'm also disappointed that the county is not funding chipping. And I'm wondering if you, as CAL FIRE, feel like the state is providing you enough support for prevention so you don't have to risk your lives with so much suppression. And finally, I'm wondering why our member of Congress isn't here. This seems like the biggest event that we've had in years. I don't know if the smoke has reached his home, but damn it, he should be here, and he should be telling us more about his plan to manage our forests, because I don't have any clue as to how we stop this from happening over and over and over again.
All great questions, and I'm going to try to hit it off. If I miss something, please just come back and let me know across the board. So we'll start first with the containment, and you're seeing a lot of zeros. So what we have gone, and I went out and balloted today, we do have a lot of line around the fire, so you're hearing about how lines around the fire, and we're making good progress here. The reason we're still showing it at 0% contained is because as I was driving that today and going around, there is hot ash, hot trees, still throwing stuff over the line, causing us concerns. And what I really don't want to do is really start showing containment or control lines or black lines on the map if all of a sudden we get some spot fires and it's starting to go over. So what we're really doing is we're being very cautious on this. I will tell you, you're going to start seeing it real soon. You're going to start seeing black line on the map. You're going to start seeing containment across it real soon. We are just trying to be overly cautious on this from the fire behavior that we have seen. It is by far, in my 30 years in the fire service, some of the most extreme behavior I've seen, including fires up and down the state. So, as far as fuels management goes, I'll work on that one next and go from there. I can't speak personally on behalf of the county, but I can't speak on behalf of CAL FIRE. The department has invested a lot of money for personnel, equipment, everything across the board putting in. There's fuel breaks that we have put in place over the last few years, some brushing of roads, clearing of roadways, clearing of roadsides that we've coordinated with Mariposa County Road Department to go through and clear roadsides. The challenge that we're running into, even across the board, and for this instance example, we're not going to be able to get to everything right away. We do not have the staffing, but we're going to do our best to get to as much as possible. And on a fire of this magnitude, man, unless that fuel break is 2.5 miles wide on this one, I can't even fathom to tell you the spotting that we are seeing and the fire behavior we're seeing on this. That's why when I sit here and talk with you, I am super happy that I have no severe injuries of anyone in the public and also anyone on our fire engines. I mean, there were some close calls. I will tell you that. As far as your elected officials, I will take some ownership in that. I should have reached out to them personally. I am talking to them daily. They are calling me daily, asking for daily updates across the board. So I will tell you the next one that is there, I will do my best to reach out to ensure they're here to answer your questions. Did I miss anything for you? Thank you.
So as your elected county sheriff, I will also speak for our county to the best of my knowledge. So first off, your Board of Supervisors have been engaged in this fight and support. They've canceled trips and other things that were, on their daily lives, but to make sure that they're here. Some even affected as well as you. From my knowledge, they are supportive of the chipping program, and I don't know the details of it, but they're always open to good communication. Many of them are here tonight, so I know they will, if you want to have a sidebar, they would probably be more than likely or happy to discuss that with you. But earlier, we did go through the budget process, and I believe I did remember hearing about our Fire Safe Council being funded. So I know they're very, very active. They're doing some really big field breaks on the stump field side too. So I think it would just be good conversation, but I think you should be proud too that you have a very supportive board for you as well to make sure you're safe.
Thank you for all you're doing. I want to let you know that there's concerted prayer going for all of you that are risking your lives for us. And I wanted to also ask a question regarding the fact that we understand that the majority of the expansion of the fire has been in the north, and that's been the direction of the wind. There's been a report that the wind was going to shift potentially this afternoon towards the south. Did that happen? And if it did, how long do you expect that to continue? And then going forward, do you expect any particular direction of the wind based on history?
So just let me confirm the question with you real quick. Are you question about as far as the wind and how it's affecting the fire and what the expectation is moving forward? Okay, so perfect. Great question. The wind is a tremendous effect on this, and I can let Justin go into a little bit more here. I will tell you they did bring a meteorologist, so we are getting weather briefings every day, not just for the day we're fighting the fire or the morning we're going out. We're getting extended forecasts across the board, which really goes into decision-making factors for our operations chiefs and the team of how we're going to engage and fight that fire. So I'll turn it over to Justin real quick. He can go in a little bit more detail from the team perspective, but yes, there are some meteorologists, and winds is a huge factor for us that we pay close attention to.
Okay, so Justin's asked me to talk on this one. So a little bit with the wind. We haven't had a huge wind, and what's happening right now is the fuels out there are so critically low. We're in areas where the bug kill has been. We look at fuel moistures and fuels, and we are at critical levels or that are either breaking records or at near breaking records for the amount of moisture that are in these fuels. So with the fuels being so dry, you get a little bit of wind, but then the type of terrain out there, the terrain is actually, and because of the dryness of the fuels, the terrain is what's driving where the fire is going right now, and not necessarily the wind. It did change a little bit today with the wind was first coming from the southeast and then transitioned to a southwest flow, which is why you saw the direction where the fire started to push today. I do believe that the IMET has predicted that that same weather pattern is, and temperatures and winds are supposed to be for the next couple days. And then we will be looking for further out forecast if we're going to have any type of wind transitions. That's also part of when Chief Van Lobensel's talked about our 0% containment. We're watching the winds, but with it being terrain driven and the spot fires, that's why we've kind of left it just being a little bit cautious right now. But I hope that answers your question a little bit better.
Can you tell us where it jumped at Wild Dove, how any of the homes are in there, in that area, where it pushed all the way up to Footman Ridge? And when will we get notified about that?
I think I should just hold a mic here the whole time. You there? Wild Dove. So yesterday, when it made that hard push up Jersey-Dale Road, the spot fire did land in Wild Dove. No longer spot fire. The main body of fire is in and around Wild Dove, going up to Ferguson Ridge. Not a whole lot of intel. I can tell you that Jersey-Dale Road was impacted to the point where it was impassable. We had to get county roads out with a loader and a grader and clear the road so the resources could get into Mariposa Pines this morning. And that's pretty much all I have on Wild Dove.
And again, we do have our DINS teams that has now arrived and will be going in the area. And before we do any speculation on if anything is destroyed or damaged, we want to get validation on that so we're not passing bad information. So the DINS team will be working long hours trying to get that information out as quickly as we can. Same with the evacuation and repopulation. We have a process that we do. You've heard it from others that have spoken before me, but we have to go through a process so we can make sure it's not only safe for all our fire personnel, all the other agencies that are working out there, that we have agencies like PG&E that are making sure that power is restored, that there's no trees that are going to fall on you. So when we have all those things safely, then we can get you back into the area so you can also assess your properties. So.
Oh, you'll hold it? Okay. Hi, my name is Pam. I wanted to talk about the Fire Safe Council in Mariposa. I have friends that have called that council to get help with chipping and especially with weed whacking. They never have the funds available to help these people. So they're saying that they're depending on donations, and some of the donations come from PG&E, but they're not getting the help that they need from the Fire Safe Council. Also, PG&E has been coming onto my property and cutting down trees without telling me and leaving really large pieces, I mean 5 feet long pieces that I can't even roll. And they're not helping at all with leaving all of this stuff on the ground for, you know, fuel for fires. So something really needs to be done about that also. Thank you.
Terrific question for the Fire Council. We'll start off with first. There is some grant funding available. I would love to have a conversation with you afterwards, tie in with some of our folks, some of our resource management folks here, that we can work and try to get some additional funding brought in through grant funding and some other avenues we could potentially work on getting some chipping done on private property through some other avenues for you. As far as the cutting down of trees from PG&E, I do know that they have a liaison here today, and we'll ask them to come up with us also so we can sit down and try to answer your questions and address your issues as best as possible. Well, let's hope we can address them tonight and maybe get something handled for you. No problem.
Nervous now. Okay. Hi, I'm Carrie Casella. I have a question in regards to the findings of the homes that have been destroyed. I know this isn't the Paradise Fire, but the Paradise Fire before, they had a internet system or an app that you would go to, and they had shown X's on homes that were destroyed and then homes that were semi-destroyed or damaged. Is Mariposa County going to have something like that, or are you really going to be able to contact these persons personally?
I can't speak for the DIMS team they're talking about, but I can speak that, you look at this paper and you see these patches, and we talk about unified command and one team, one fight. So those are great. For one, a great question that we can go back and make sure that everybody's communicating together. But for me, as your sheriff, I work for you, Mariposa County. I feel that it's very important that we don't rush it. I feel it's important that we don't just broadcast that to the internet, maybe later down the road or something, but I feel that it's extremely important to have personal contact, that you have the first personal right to view your property. And I know from the Sheriff's Office standpoint, and I'm sure they will support me, that's the way to go, and that we will put every resource we have to make sure that you know first and that you're out there. We'll bring you out there, however that works, before it's just broadcast on the internet.
So it's terrible if somebody loses their home, and I've had to sit there and experience and watch people be told that's happened with our on other fires. What our DINS team will do is they will go out, they will look at every single street, take photographs, write down the address, and then what they do is they will, not only with the photograph, they're going to put a percentage-wise of how damaged it is or if it's destroyed. Once they collect all that information, then we can get it back to the EOC and to the sheriff, so then they can look up through the records of who owns those houses, and then we can start making the contacts. And that way it's not, like the sheriff said, it's not getting broadcast out to everybody or to the wrong people, so you're not finding out from somebody else. So that's the process that we do. It's a very meticulous type of thing that they have to do, and if you can imagine as many people as we have evacuated, it takes a little bit of time for them to get and make sure that they cover all the different areas. So I promise you that they're going to work as fast as they can, but we want to make sure that the report's complete and that it's accurate for you, so we're not giving you bad information.
I just have a follow-up for Jeremy. He's talking about contacting people. I have a fairly new cell phone that that nobody has. So is there a place to register my number so that if you do get a hold of me, I mean, my home phone obviously is inaccessible right now. So if something were to happen to my property, the only way you could get to me is my cell phone.
Yes, so you can, on the MSO alerts, you can update your contact information, as well as I have team members. You can call our office, and we'll have staff. If you can't, say you don't have the internet or something, call us. We'll work through you. We'll make sure that you're all up to date. Because we definitely want you to have, we want to have your correct number.
Free number.
No, you can contact the sheriff's office or some of our staff here tonight. We'll do it tonight.
Oh, okay, great. I just want to say thank you to the Sheriff's Department. We had to leave and we couldn't find our cat. My daughter was distraught, and I made a call and they found our cat today. So our daughter is very thankful. But we live in Lush Meadows, and we were just wondering, are we talking days, weeks? What are we thinking about being able to go back home?
So when we say as quick as possible, we mean it. But again, we make sure it's safe. Obviously, where the fire behavior is. So to have a specific time or date right now, I wouldn't want to do that. But as soon as we can, we will definitely get you guys back in there. Yeah.
So we have, part of our team is we have our own law enforcement liaison officers that work with the Sheriff's Department here, and we are constantly looking and reevaluating with our operations when it's safe. But not only do we have to make sure that it's safe from that, like I said, we have to make sure all the other agencies, it's safe from PG&E, or if there's any type of trees or any type of road hazards, that everything's safe so you can get back in. And then it's also safe for our personnel that are still working, because if they're blocking all the roadways, it's very dangerous when the public starts to come in, because you want to get in, reevaluate your house. And one of the things we don't want to do is injure any of the personnel that are working out there trying to get you back into your homes. Okay.
Thank you. Question is, I know several families that have lost their homes and have had them fairly well destroyed. Is there any site yet available or a place where we can make donations to help out? And that would be pretty much financial donations and other things.
You got it? We're talking about it. I don't know, none of us know of any specific sites, but we do have the American Red Cross that is here that does take donations, or you can contact maybe the call center or the EOC, and they can point you in the right direction. But please do be wary of people that are calling, soliciting for any of that type of stuff. Make sure that you validate that it is a legitimate donation site. Okay.
Good to see you.
My name is Rosemary Smallcomb. I am District 1 Supervisor here in Mariposa County. And I just want to mention, I don't know if Marilyn Saunders is still here, but our Mariposa Community Foundation, Kim Torvinen is here. And Mariposa Community Foundation has been a very valuable partner in other incidents of this type, and they are prepared to do the same on this fire. And I'm walking away from the guy that wanted his mic back, but I'll turn it over to Kim because she's the secretary for Mariposa Community Foundation.
Could I say something? Say something? Yeah. My name is Kim Tucker, and I am currently the board secretary for the Mariposa Community Foundation. I thought Marilyn might speak, but I don't even know if she's here. But the Mariposa Community Foundation is a legitimate not-for-profit organization that is chartered in the state of California. We are a legitimate organization to receive donations and to disperse funds for people who are in need. In the past, on the Detweiler fire and on the Telegraph fire, the disbursement was done through the Mariposa County Health and Human Services Agency, and that is what I anticipate will happen on this event. So if you have questions, you can look at our website. Those of you who know me, you can just ask me, but thank you.
And what we'll do, good. What we'll do, Jim, thank you for the question. What we'll also do is make sure that their contact information is submitted into the EOC so they can also put out on our social media if it's a verified, legitimate community foundation. So you'll have all the contact information available as well.
When this is all done
and people are knowledgeable about what their situation is, I expect that there's going to be 1 million different agencies and insurance companies and things like that that need to get contacted. And so everybody in here is going to be trying to call this number or that number. Is it possible to set up some kind of clearinghouse so that you call in and that maybe that clearinghouse gets a hold of, 20 insurance companies to put people on board to answer questions, things like that, where somebody says, what community agency do I contact for this? So that clearinghouse might be helpful for something like that.
So the easiest way to answer that, so there's no confusion, is again, the Emergency Operations Center, our EOC, will have a local, it's called a LAC, right? Local Assistance Center. And so at the end, all the support staff from Health and Human Services and everybody come together and do that very thing to help everybody a smooth as possible transition back into your places.
Hi, my name is Claire Schuler, and I actually just moved here last week, so we love your community so far. I did want to answer the one gentleman's question because right before we moved here, my landlord/roommate had her perimeter cleared to make her property defensible, and so I did a quick Google search. FEMA, CAL FIRE, California Forest Improvement, Environmental Quality Incentives, Sierra Nevada Conservancy, U.S. Forest Service, federal funding for tree mortality, and Fire Safe Council all offer grants to help pay for you guys to clear your land and to make it defensible.
So now with the fire council, if people are in fact calling and nobody is coming to help them or give them those grants, who do we call on top of that? Who oversees the fire council if they're not doing their job?
Yeah, terrific question. Why don't we come down here, we'll talk about it after. What I really try to do now is really like to try to focus on the fire and be able to answer any question for you guys on the fire. We will definitively hit the questions on the Fire Safe Councils and grants to help fund this stuff moving forward. But let's focus on that fire and we'll get those questions answered for you. Thank you, guys.
With no PG&E rep here tonight, are you able to say that all evacuated areas have no power now, that's all been shut off? Whether we got refrigerator problems and freezer with all the meats and everything else.
So in the meetings we're in, they are with us. In the evacuated areas, that's the number one for firefighter safety, is all the responder safety. So not speaking for PG&E, but speaking for you as your sheriff and who's been in all these meetings and been out there in the field and on the ground, yes. And we worked very hard as well to re-energize the 880 individuals that were out of power in the advisory area, because we understand the concerns as well with the food and refrigerants and everything else. So very, very good contact, very good communication. Your PG&E reps have been here as well 24 hours a day.
Sheriff Breeze, I'm wondering if essential vehicles would be allowed through 140 between Allred and Ponderosa going to El Portal, Yosemite, and maybe beyond. Is that a possibility?
So we are currently working with the Park Service, and so the answer to that is we're starting that process. I know we have for instance, we're working with something you wouldn't even think about, but all the trash trucks that need to come out of Yosemite Valley. So yes, we are working that, but we're working together to make sure that those are coordinated transits and they are as well safe in the area. So yes.
My name is Michael. I just wanted to double check something. You guys spoke about notifying the homeowners and things when there was things at issue. What about the renters? I rent, my landlord is out of state. Obviously the stuff, if anything were to happen, it's ours, not his. I needed to know if it's in that instance, who is the first thing am I waiting to hear from my landlord and my house is burnt down?
So what I would recommend is if you're a renter and not the homeowner, obviously the team will be working for contact information. So could it be if the best way would be to contact our EOC, identify who you are, the location that you're a renter of this address. So then in an event that is it's in an event your home was destroyed, we'd be able to get a hold of you and work with the landowner as well in kind of a joint process.
Then I have another question. Somebody online had said that this is in regards to the notifications to the people who have had houses burned down. Journalists are breaking through and getting through and actually contacting homeowners aside from before the sheriff's department and talking to homeowners who have had their houses burned down and get them on media. What are we doing about that?
So I would, our goal is always to work in partnership as well as with our media as in partnership. So professionalism and courtesy is extreme. If that is happening, we will hopefully track that down and be able to have a conversation about that. But again, it's common courtesy, and I think the media so far that has been covering, I can't speak for all of them, but if it is popping up, we'll be monitoring it and we'll hopefully have those side conversations that we have to be respectful of our homes, our residents, and not do that. But obviously, I can't prevent some stuff. But if we catch it, we do monitor social media, and we're hoping to keep everything in a positive direction. So.
Just to kind of reiterate some of the things that we just talked about with the media. In California, there's a penal code called 409.5D as in David. What that does is that allows the media access to certain scenes and pretty much everything without limitations to an extent. So those limitations are they cannot go on private property, they cannot go on national forest land, they cannot impede an investigation, and they cannot do anything that is deemed a harm or a possible harm to the responders. Short of that, it gives them the right to do that. So the sheriff's exactly right, and some of the things we can do and some of the things that we can't. But again, we try to do everything we can to keep them away from private residences. Just like he said, they want to make sure that they're contacting you, but there's just some things by the law they just can't do. So I apologize for that, but that is just, unfortunately, the law in California.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Joanne. I live in Mid Pines, and I was just wondering, online you can reach that ArcGIS map, and you can enter an address there. How accurate is that? And if you're inside those red fire lines, does that guarantee that your house is gone or not?
I think you're referring to our public information map on mariposacounty.org. So what that is the Sheriff's Office evacuation has gone digital. So it's live time, it's real time, it's accurate. And so that section that is colored would be the evacuated zone. we gave you the option that you can put your address in, and that's just if you were uncertain if you're within the evacuated zone. So it gives no details, it gives no operational details, it just gives you the ability, if in question your home is in or out of the evacuation zone, you put your address in, and where it's at is accurate, live, and works with through our Mariposa GIS system. Mm-mm. Yeah.
Is power on or not on in Ponderosa Basin, to your knowledge?
To our knowledge, it's on, as well as all the residents on the USONA, the advisory area that was off to that area. That was turned on earlier this afternoon in the advisory area.
I know of at least one family in the red zone, the evacuation zone, that refused to leave. Are they going to shut the power off for safety purposes? So she's going to have no power, even she's right by the highway. Actually in the fire.
Is she in the evacuation zone?
She is in the evacuation zone, but she's right up above Lawson Construction, so it's right there by the highway.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I can't answer a lot of detailed questions for PG&E, and a liaison or rep can hopefully, I think there might be some here in the audience that can maybe discuss that. But pretty much our goal is inside the evacuation zones are for firefighter safety, responder safety. We're not going to have live lines while we're out there. Correct. So if you're in the evacuation zone, that means you're supposed to evacuate. And so if you want to refuse, there's some parameters around that, but that's what that means. And we really encourage people, obviously, to evacuate and trust the judgment of these professionals. But if you do decide to stay, that doesn't mean you get to come and go. It doesn't mean that you can ride your quad around and check out the neighborhood. If you're going to remain, you remain on your property for the duration at your own judgment.
Oh, you're going to hold it? Thank you. First of all, I also want to extend my appreciation to everyone, all the firefighters, the professionals, the administration, everyone. This is my husband and my first experience with this. We're relatively new, only 3 years in, and but my question is, I was in my home, and my husband decided to go quickly into town, didn't realize that access back to the house was going to be restricted. We were in an advisory status, and our address is still in that status, but I had to vacate to be with him, and we have not been able to go back to our home. So I'm wondering if on proof of residency and proof of advisory status would allow us to return until we have an evacuation notice.
So just so we don't confuse evacuations and advisory. Advisories are, you're not prevented from coming and going. That's more for preparation for an evacuation. So if it's an advisory, you should be fine. If it's the evacuation zone, so we don't tie up everybody's time, if you can meet with one of my staff, we can talk and see exactly what the circumstances are, just, in difference of time.
Hi, my name is Christy. I'm wondering, based on the meteorological forecasts, if you expect any movement towards Mariposa.
Yeah, for the next couple of days, we're still expecting the westerly push of winds. What the fire's doing is the terrain is dominating the fire activity, which is why it's going up into the northeast. It's kind of following the elevation. With the good work that we did along the 140 corridor, getting that all secured, I'm growing in confidence that it won't. So.
Okay, I don't see anybody raising their hand, and I know we've been answering questions online. So with that, I'd like to close out this evening by thanking all of you for coming. Oops, we have a question. I missed one. Rick?
Hi, did you say that the winds are heading westerly?
Out of the west. Yeah, a westerly wind out of the west.
All right, so let's do one last check to make sure that we've got everybody. And if that's the case, then we'll go ahead and close out. All right, so again, we've got one up front. It's hard to see up here, I apologize. Rick, I got a question up in the front.
Okay. Hi, I was wondering, I think it was, I don't know, this morning, I wanted to know on the map, before it was all real dark red, and then sometimes you see some areas that are like translucent red, where you can see the roads and the mountains. So what's the difference?
So we have different types of maps, and depending on what we call layers that our map makers put on there, depends on how dark something can be. They change that. So what you're looking for on the map is the red line and black line. The black line means that we are confident the fire's not going to go out of there, that it's out in that spot, and the red is where we still think that we have open fire line, to where we have maybe some type of potential where the fire could keep expanding from that point. There's many different marks on the map that mean different things.
It's the color that. The shade of red. Yeah, the shade of red. There was like a light brown up at the very top.
Yeah, that could be. It can be anything from different on who owns the land. It could be all different types of things of what the colors mean, the shadings on the map.
All right.
Okay. All right, thank you. I received a text from Allison Tudor. I'm sure a lot of you folks know her. She's the executive director for our own Alliance for Community Transformations, and she tells me that they have also set up, at the request of our Health and Human Services Agency, a fund so that people can donate for victims of the Oak Fire. And the place to go is givebutter.com. So there's two good places, local places, organizations that are wonderful partners here in Mariposa County, but there are opportunities for people to donate money and so on to victims of the fire. Yep.
Okay, again, I'd like to thank all of you guys. Okay, I got one more that the chief's telling me I gotta deal with, so.
Yeah, my daughter was evacuated from Lush Meadows because of spot fires, and she went into Awani, and she's renting a B&B. They were just announcing, she just got a notice that there's spot fires in Awani. Do you know anything about that? She's worried about being evacuated again?
Spot fires in Wani, we have not been made aware of spot fires in Wani. What we have had today, right before this meeting actually started, is we did have a new fire start in Wani. And that created some talks of some evacuations and some different stuff of that. That was down on Road 600 at Grub Gulch. I'm glad to say that the aircraft off the Oak Fire, combined with the resources that responded, have worked on containing that fire, as well as the one that we had in Coulterville today, too, which is about another 10-acre fire that your fire crews put out today with the help of all the aircraft off the Oak incident.
All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Again, we're here for you. There will be several members of our team as well as our PIOs that will remain here. If you have any questions you want to ask one-on-one, we welcome you to do that. Thank you again, and if we have any future meetings, we'll make sure we get that word out. Thanks for your attendance.